Hi, everybody, and welcome to Best Podcast Ever, where three idiots you don't know talk about a hobby you've never heard of. Coming to you from the secret BPE mobile. You got something you want to say, Mike? You look like you're gonna pop.
No, I'm good. I'm great. Super.
So we're coming from another super secret event that we have been told we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, no, we're totally not going to talk about the wedding we just came from at all.
I mean, and who knows whose wedding it possibly could have been? Because of course, I'm Brian, in the driver's seat today in the super secret BPE mobile is Mike, and in the back is Kevin.
And it was not my wedding.
Yeah, no, it's totally not his wedding.
So, you know, we have the normal three BTE members here.
Yeah, no, nothing here is out of the ordinary.
Completely normal.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not my
I did not
wife.
bring my boobs tonight.
No, totally not.
No.
So that's a thing, but we'd like to thank you for joining us here as we're driving back from the super secret event. We decided we'd do a real quick podcast just to make sure we get our content out there, because we're on some sort of quota that only we make sure of.
Yes, and we've already disregarded once before, but we're not going to let it happen again.
But pretty much we figured we'd get everybody here, myself, Mike, and of course Kevin in the back there. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk a little bit about one of the many side projects BTE started and never really got off the ground.
Yeah, and by started, I mean we started talking about it probably right around the time it came into existence, which was shortly after BTE came into existence. And that would be the 24 Hours of Lemons, or Lem-Ons, if you prefer. You know, which, for those of you who are not aware, is a road racing series in which you are supposed to buy a car that costs less than $500 and, you know, get it as track ready as you can for less than $500 and then race for 24 hours, because that's a great idea. Sounds attainable, but, you know, especially when you consider that one member of BTE is a trained auto mechanic.
Trained and college-educated auto mechanic. He majored
in auto repair.
Yeah, in auto repair.
Yes. But, you know, it requires that you actually do something as opposed to nothing to get it off the ground. So here we are, you know, roughly 10 years in, and yeah.
We have spotted a car that in theory we can buy for the correct price.
Yes.
What gen Jetta? You know those cars better than I do.
A third gen Jetta, 1996, I believe.
It's even white.
Yes, so it's just asking for BTE graphics.
If we could ever actually get our hands on it.
Yeah. We saw a picture of it once, courtesy of Kevin. But
yeah, good picture, Kev.
Thank you.
But, you know, Kevin is in charge of acquiring the car, and he hasn't, so...
Yeah, fuck you, Kevin.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, the real trick of that is the safety equipment doesn't count towards the max.
That's correct, yeah, so it could get quite expensive.
So it's going to be this, I think it's going to be $250, he said. We'd have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's what
it's going to be a $250 car that we have to, like, put a diamond plate bottom on the car.
Yeah, because apparently the person who's selling the car, or
told us not to sit in it,
who has the car that's a junk car and doesn't know what to do with it, said to Kevin that he would not recommend sitting in it. And Kevin is quite large, so as you can see in this invisible medium that we're in.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wouldn't put him in it, and none of us is really small either, so no.
Stand him up like a chariot.
Yeah.
Just bend her our way around the track for 24 hours.
That's a good idea.
It's going to be better than whatever we come up with.
That's true.
I mean, our roll cage is probably going to be PVC, going back to our budgetary concerns.
Yes, well, you know, Kevin has some access to welding equipment at least.
Yep.
You're putting a lot of faith in our dear captain,
Yeah.
there, Mike.
You do, and I'm not quite sure why. Because I just had a not wedding, and I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
Mostly how we're going to murder your husband.
Oh, okay, well, go ahead.
Because, I mean, we don't... Like, I have a fire suit from a previous endeavor when I was in England, and they let me drive a Formula-esque car around Silverstone for, like, 300 pounds. I don't have a helmet, though.
Nah.
None of us have a helmet.
Nah. No. That's true.
So we'll just get a bike helmet.
Yeah, I'll be armed with my extensive track driving experience that I will pick up this summer at the Lime Rock Autocross course.
Is that where you have to bring your own car?
You bring your own car, but there's no safety equipment required because there's nothing to hit, as opposed to the Pocono track day that we looked into.
Well, also, when I did my rally driving at the Billy Gwine Rally School in Silverstone, England, in case anybody wants to go there, if that's still a thing. I don't know, I haven't been there in like 5 years. I was told very specifically not to hit the trees when they were teaching me rally.
That's
so
good.
I didn't hit the trees, I hit a fence. And let me tell you, they were just as mad. My navigator got really upset when I did that, even though I hit 0 trees.
Well, I mean, yeah, they need to be more specific.
I mean, you know, I did exactly what he asked. He should have asked for more.
Did they make you fix the fence?
No, but that ended my run.
No.
I was in a Nissan Metro, I think. I think it was a Nissan. It was this tiny, tiny car. It
Was it a Rover Metro?
No, it wasn't a Rover. It was definitely some Japanese car. It was just,
Nissan Micro?
might have been.
Which is, I believe, is similar in concept to the Nissan Versa.
It was just a tiny 2-door car
Yeah.
that they let me drive around a rally course, and that I only crashed once, I swear.
Well, that's pretty good.
There'd be more footage of me doing this, but I had my digital camera in my pocket, and it jumped out during one of the rally stages and bounced around the back.
Oh, cool.
Which was just full of mud and dirt and rocks and things.
Right.
So
They
that
didn't
happened.
give you any such instructions when you drove at Watkins Glen as you drove as friends, right, Mike?
Yes, that's true. But we were, you weren't allowed to pass anyone, so there was a limit. There was a practical limit on how fast you could go because the lead person was behind a safety vehicle.
No, yeah. Well, in rally, of course, it was only me on the track, so there was like no limit to how fast I could go other than my own lack of skill.
Right.
And in the Silverstone thing, they had blue flags, so if there was a blue flag, you were supposed to let the guy pass you. They didn't want anybody fighting, but at the same time, you could totally race each other on the straightaways.
Right.
Silverstone known for its straightaways.
Yes. Well,
And
in
that,
the old layout.
that was another thing we were even thinking of on the way up here. We did a minor recording to make sure the equipment worked that we totally tested.
Yeah, that's totally why we did it. And good thing we listened to the playback.
Yeah. Insert the funniest moment here, Mike. I'm putting this on you.
That was a long time ago.
We were trying to think of other, like, full car racing series we could get into on the cheap, because the whole reason we were even looking into Lemons is because, again, we are a slot car racing team, and I swear we'll talk about slot cars outside of the fact that we are a slot car racing team at some point in this 30-minute recording. But really, the grand scheme is to try and get behind the wheel of a real vehicle and drive it around as a team and see just how terrible we really are.
Yeah, I think the answer will be quite terrible, but there's only really one way to find out. And, I am of the mind that, most slot car racers, and any of you out there can disagree with me, are probably just people who wish they were racing real cars. So.
Well, I mean, this Friday, I pretty much wished I was more or less anywhere else, but I won the race.
Did you wish you were racing real dune buggies against real hot rods jumping over plastic obstacles?
I mean, that sounds great, especially if I was the dune buggy of that.
Yeah,
I don't think hot rods are designed to
hot
go
rods
over
are
much.
not known for their off-road capabilities, whereas dune buggies are only known for their off-road capabilities.
I actually saw a real dune buggy in Manasquan, New Jersey reference, this past Memorial Day weekend. Somebody had one painted in that, like, is it purple, is it green bass boat paint.
Oh, okay.
So clearly it had been recently painted because that paint wasn't a thing when those
Right.
cars were being made. Yeah, looks like to be that Prius.
Yeah, oh, that's the cop that passed us a few minutes ago. We are not on our home turf. We are in Pennsylvania.
Well, it's Kevin's home turf.
Yes, that's true.
It is, and I feel very comfortable here.
That's true.
That's why you feel very comfortable.
Yes.
So, yes, cop cars have radar. That is true.
The super secret event we were at totally had a super secret open bar
Yes.
where we more or less went to town on it. I had a small pyramid worth of beer.
I don't know if anyone can tell.
No, I don't.
I was expecting a second half of that sentence.
I thought that was a dependent clause, but that was a sentence.
Grammar jokes.
So it would have been an independent clause because it did have a verb in it, and a subject.
But
Yes,
yeah,
well,
because we already, I mean, I'm going to put air quotes around mastered being a slot car team, because there's not much you need to do to be considered one of the known slot car teams outside of be gigantic assholes and have branding.
Yeah, the branding puts you head and shoulders above half of them out there. I mean,
We have an actual logo outside of the Jersey Longhorns, which isn't a team anymore.
Yeah.
We have a logo.
And whose logo, quite frankly, I never understood what it was even supposed to be.
The Jersey, it was 3 guide pins.
Oh, because there's 3 of them? Was that the idea?
No,
Why were there
they were
3?
trying to make a steer.
Oh, they were trying to make the Texas Longhorns. I mean,
Yeah, out of guide pins.
definitely didn't mention that copyrighted property.
What are they gonna do? Listen to this?
Yeah.
We're already 10 minutes in.
Hey, Texas Longhorns. We didn't. Yeah.
I mean, we do look at the I look at the analytics on YouTube. Apparently, Mike uploads it to YouTube and kisses up to God and just walks away and goes,
More
"Okay,
or
see you in
less.
2 weeks."
Yeah, pretty much.
Most people listen to this for about 30 seconds, and I think that's as long as our intro lasts, and then they
Cool.
hear us talk,
Yeah.
and then they sign off.
That is probably true. Wow, 30 seconds. That's sad. That's why I don't look at the analytics, because I don't like being sad.
We had 7 views last time, and 7 means 7 people clicked on it, not
Right.
necessarily listened to the very end.
And most of them were Kevin, I'm sure. So, on his various computers that he doesn't even own.
I mean, it's his iPhone, it's his girlfriend's iPhone.
Yeah.
I do what I can.
Way to keep the numbers high.
Thank you.
Well, there are those sites where you can buy views.
That
you
is
can buy
true.
views and you can buy followers, but we haven't reached that level yet, mostly because we don't want to put any money into this, as noted by our quality.
Yeah, no, putting money into things is stupid.
I mean, this
So,
week was BTE versus quality,
yeah.
as you can hear right now.
And we've beaten quality soundly.
I mean, BTE versus quality, BTE versus thought thread.
We have smoked quality, but good.
All right, as we're moving along here, anything even interesting happened in the world of slot cars this week? I've seen a couple of new ones. It seems like Skelectrics, after redesigning their logo to be black and white, but not redesigning their packages, so they're still on neon blue.
Yes, the base plate is still neon blue.
Like all of the color dripped onto that one Audi that's yellow and blue.
Is that the Bilstein R8 that they've done before? Is that a new
No,
one?
it's like this psychedelic random color
Oh,
job.
I did see that.
Yeah, I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why you would make your logo black and white. And it's not even black and white. It's like, let's take the logo and make it grayscale.
Yeah, it is. It's like a black and a medium gray-ish.
The most, I mean, is it because that's the most common colors on the road? Like, what are they?
Maybe. I don't know. Skelectric, we want to know.
Skelectrics, let us know.
This is what we want to know from you, not all the other stuff. That,
We constantly
you've
question
tormented
you
us
on.
with. Yes.
You just have a list scroll through of all the problems we have with that company right now.
That sounds like work. That's not going to happen.
I mean, I'm going to keep putting you on the hook for all this. And I'm pretty sure the only thing that's going to happen, if anything, is this fat chance will flash on the screen.
That might, yeah. Well, I mean...
A doodle of the
typically
Skelectrics
what
logo.
happens after we're done recording one of these is that I will sit down and say, yeah, I should put some pictures up on the screen so at least they know what we're talking about, and then I'll think, yeah, but I've already invested 15 minutes in this, and
That's about the level of our interest, it seems, because to go back to like where this conversation started, the many abandoned projects of BTE,
oh yes,
because the only things we've really managed to accomplish is the Ecor team,
right,
a couple of logos, and some car liveries, and the podcast, because we had like regular slot car reviews got canceled due to laziness.
yeah.
The Lemons car, I'm calling it right now, is getting canceled due to laziness.
That will happen, yes, in due time. We haven't even had the energy to cancel it yet. But
Coming
eventually.
soon.
Coming soon, the abandonment of this project.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's more coals we had or irons on the coals that we just like
We
let
got as
burn
far
out.
as ordering as making shirts to wear to the challenge that we're going to promote our series of slot car reviews that has not yet gotten off the ground.
Well,
so
I mean,
in the it's funny because at the time various things happened that stopped us from ordering the shirts with the branding on them, the full branding on them, and in retrospect it's just as well because we would have looked even dumber. So
we have all these ideas for even little quick videos. We just don't have the time or the know-how or the give a shit, if we're being honest.
yeah, time I think is the biggest factor.
Well, I mean, we might as well talk about some of the videos that got canceled, because even if they do get made eventually, they're probably going to be nothing like our original idea.
That's true. Yes.
Because, I mean, I definitely had the one where I wanted to, and really the problem was I couldn't find a way to stick my phone in an aerial view where you just saw my hands, because I wanted to do how to how to tune a Johnny Lightning, and it was going to end. Well, I mean, it was going to get pretty dark pretty quick. It was going to be me opening the car, okay, then you take these screws out here, and then you, like, just dump an entire thing of ATF on it. Then Hammer of Justice, and then Fire, and then at the end you just see me, like swipe that whole thing off the counter.
I mean, I guess
and then open a new one and put it on the track.
What we really would have, all we really would have needed would have been a GoPro with a head strap. But we have a GoPro.
We have a GoPro, but we don't have a tool to attach it to outside of Kevin.
Yeah.
Right, Kevin? Okay.
Kevin has fallen asleep.
Whatever works.
Yeah, that's just as well. Kevin needs to sleep. So, yeah, and I mean, there's no spoiler here in what the slot car reviews would have been. Although even that, the scope just constantly creeps. I mean, if we had an animated logo, it would be the animated GIF of the dancing goalposts.
As they just like speed run backwards away.
But we originally, wanted to emulate regular car reviews, but do it with slot cars, and then we realized that didn't really work because we had 3 hosts.
No, it totally worked in the way we had written it down. The problem was we could never get all 3 of us in a room, and if we had simply done one person doing all of it, and then we pass it off to someone else doing all of it, and then a third person, we probably could have done it, but we had, in my opinion, what would have been a decent idea. Also considering that YouTube does reward you for having 10-minute and over videos.
Yeah.
It would have worked in our favor. It's just, we honestly did not have the ability to get all of us together to record the lines and then get the footage needed because we wanted to do this decently and then gave up and did this, obviously.
Yes. Which you'll notice the lack of pictures. Because getting decent footage of slot cars, action footage of slot cars,
that we had the rights to,
Yes.
getting even footage of the real cars that we had the rights to would have been the hardest part, because I was going to do kind of the business side of it, Kevin was going to do how the slot car was, and Mike, who has the only actual knowledge of racing, would have given us the history of the actual car.
And it would have been spectacular.
I think it would have been entertaining. The problem is it was probably going to take us like a month to do an episode.
Yeah.
So we would have had to spend 3 months banking 3 episodes and then have one come out a week, and then we're like, okay, maybe we have 20 people watching and now we have no more content.
Well, I think, again, ripping off regular car reviews as much as possible, the RCR Stories series that they've started doing, might be the answer for us to put something on the screen during that, in that, we could just have the few stills that we actually have access to of the real cars we're talking about, and just have it be slightly less boring, because at least you have a race car to look at.
The shiny object to look at.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose I could do that in the history of Tyco, to show all of the chrome cars.
Yeah.
And all of those cars that are technically Tyco that I have access to that are chrome.
Tyco.
Well, I mean, there's that one, but also my dad totally bought... Okay, so we might as well go into this now. When Tyco went out of business, their factory was in Hong Kong.
Right.
And essentially, when they went out of business, 2 very, very entrepreneurial souls went out and just bought the factory with all the shit still in it. And they started making Tyco cars, which were made in the Tyco factory, made with the Tyco liveries, but were technically never Tyco. So there's like chrome versions of the Days of Thunder cars.
Okay.
Which aren't a thing. They're not real.
Right.
But they were made in the original Tyco factory, so do they count?
It's open to debate. I mean, they were made using Tyco's tooling in their facility, but Tyco never wanted them made. So,
I mean, the Days of Thunder cars was such a weird scenario anyway, because they made a 6-lane layout for movie studios, but they only had 5 Days of Thunder cars.
Yes, so they had to introduce the Tyco car to fill the last lane.
Which was just a Dale Earnhardt car.
Yes.
That they made blue.
Yeah.
And instead of putting...
It was basically,
on it,
they took the black GM Goodwrench livery and replaced the black with blue and the Goodwrench with Tyco. Interesting, because even the number 3 that appears in that livery is like super copyrighted. So I don't know. Like, I guess they paid to use that.
And that's something we were actually talking about today at the super secret event we were at, which was, it was on the way in the abandoned episode, which it's too good for you guys to hear.
Yeah,
It's never going to hit the light of day.
You would have wept at the goodness of it.
This is not the best podcast in the world.
No.
This is only a tribute. What are the chances that when a company wants to do silly things like put their logo on a car for a 30th year anniversary of their company like Fly did, or the Johnny Lightning, let's turn the General Lee white? What are the chances that they actually had that cleared by the copywriter? Because I actually did work in a toy company once, and we did a lot of licensing work. And when the people were actually looking at their licensing, there were a lot of rules.
Yeah.
We were making these little figures of Street Fighter guys, and we essentially never made the second series of them because they're like, oh, Ryu's eyes are blue. If you don't make his eyes blue, people will not recognize him as Ryu. Mike, describe Ryu for me real quick.
I never noticed his eye color.
Exactly. That's like
I think that the red headband, I think, is the first thing I think of when I think of his general
red
appearance.
headband, white gi.
That's about it.
But no, his eyes are blue, and unless
now that you mention it, yeah, but
really,
I guess.
I don't even think they're blue like in Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo.
You're selling me on it by mentioning it. Now I'm having trouble picturing what I thought his eyes looked like, and I never really thought about them. So,
his palette swapped Ken.
Yeah, that's about it.
You hear that sound, Mike? That's all the nerds listening to this podcast correcting me.
Yeah, no, well, that sound was an expansion joint that I hit very hard. But, expansion joint sound.
I don't know, it'll be interesting. We only got about 10 minutes left. If any of this footage ends up being useful. We now have 2 of these. Yeah, well, one of which is probably going to hit the cutting room floor with an audible thud.
Yeah. I think we'll be okay.
But yeah, just kind of looking around other BTE things to go through. It sounds like we will get this one out, what do you think, Monday?
I would say so.
It's currently Sunday, so we will get it out Monday. We'll probably have something in 2 weeks for you guys. Again, we'd love for anybody to leave the first comment to let us know what we should be talking about. Because, believe it or not, our least popular episode was the one where we were talking about video games, which I thought we were hitting our stride on.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and people care about video games, so I thought maybe that would work.
I guess our 7 viewers don't.
Yeah, maybe nobody cares about those video games, but didn't Pat the NES Punk remind people of the existence of Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat? So
I have no idea.
We're just a year behind on that, I guess. But
I don't know. I ignore those guys these days. Most of my YouTube consumption has to do with like tech stuff, Magic the Gathering, which is something that we can go into later.
Yeah, I burn a lot of time on. Lately, I've been hitting up the Motor Week Retro Review playlist, which is Comedy Gold.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, those are just old reviews they have that they're re-airing?
Yeah, those are just old segments.
Yeah.
With, of course, the same host, because they've had the same host for 35 years.
Because when I saw the first one, I didn't know if he was being serious or not.
Oh, no, he's dead serious. He's the most earnest man on television.
I looked at it, I was like, is he being serious, or is this just an old car they dug up that he's like...
No, that's for real.
This 1994 Pontiac Grand Prix.
Yeah, no, so... oh, that's right, it was when we were going to do the Tycho Days of Thunder review, actually.
We found so much YouTube gold when we were looking at those reviews, like the Domino's commercial with the not Tycho car.
That's right, that was so weird. It was a Domino's Indy car that was not
a Chapalola.
Not a Chapalola.
So, Mike, explain to the fine viewer at home, what's a Chapalola?
So, I think we started to touch on this in some previous episode. Listen to all of them and find it. And
listen to all previous 4 hours.
Send us a link with the timestamp so you can win a prize of nothing for having found it. But Tycho, well, yeah, this was true for their NASCARs as well. Tycho liked to make as many cars as possible with as few molds as possible, and you can't blame them. That's the most expensive part of making anything out of plastic is the molds. And knowing that the average, slot car purchaser, especially back then when they were
13 years old,
were largely toys. But even now, as we've touched on to some extent, the average slot car purchaser, or even the average slot car collector, doesn't necessarily care that much about real racing. So Tycho decided at some point Tycho actually had had different molds for different Formula One and Indy cars.
I think they had like a grand total of 3, and then they just took the Chapalola, which we determined is the lightest one. So I bet you it was the cheapest one to make.
Yeah, it is, because there's the fewest add-on pieces. I mean, so it is the Chaparral 2K Indy car that won the Indy 500 in 1980 with Johnny Rutherford driving in the Pennzoil livery that some people called the Yellow Submarine at the time because they thought that was clever. It's sort of a ripoff of a Lotus 79 in a way, but it's, it redefined sort of what Indy cars would look like for the next 20 years after that, but not probably to the extent that Tyco decided that it should, because Tyco then proceeded to use that mold for every open wheel race car they wanted to make. So whether it was in the case of Indy cars, let's say a Penske or a Lola or a March or a Chaparral, and on the Formula One side they had Ferraris and McLarens and Williams and Benettons.
Still an Indy car though,
still an Indy car, and still this Indy car, the Chaparral 2K. So you could have your Chaparrari or your Chapalola or your Chapamarch, and the only thing that would be different would be how it was painted.
Which, I mean, is kind of how Indy ended.
Yeah, it's kind of where it's at now. After various attempts to commit suicide by the organizers of the Indy 500. I mean, in terms of prestige, it's better now than it was, say, 15 years ago, but it's so much worse than it was 10 years before that, still.
I mean, nobody watches racing anymore, though. Like, even NASCAR was, like, the fastest-growing sport, and then George W. Bush was no longer president, and it just kind of fell through the floor.
Yeah, it's amazing how NASCAR hit a brick wall, because it seemed that NASCAR just sucking up all the air in the room was why people were stopping watching other kinds of racing on TV, because, you could take a spin through YouTube and see it for yourself, but, there was a pretty broad spectrum of racing that got real, actual TV coverage in the 80s and early 90s. And by the end of the 90s and into the 2000s, it was NASCAR, and that was it. Mostly because I think the marketing and merchandising surrounding NASCAR was so much stronger. And also because the people who ran NASCAR didn't decide to, have two competing series against each other.
They've always had two competing series.
Yeah, but not that they are both run by NASCAR. They didn't split into two completely different companies.
Oh, okay.
And say, no, this is the real one. No, this is the real one.
Yeah, because I always remember Winston and Bush.
Right. So, the Bush series was meant, and which is now the Nationwide series, I guess, was meant to be the sort of second tier.
Bush League.
Yeah, exactly. It was meant to be, the last step on the development ladder before you got to Winston Cup, which is now, I guess, the Monster Energy Cup.
Yeah.
After going through several sponsors over the last decade.
It's a lot like when, like, a rock star just sells out hardcore, or just something that, was really good at one point, and then you look back and you go, oh, God, what happened? Like, the MySpace of racing. Just. Yeah. But, I mean, it seems like unless you're one of the major players these days in racing, nobody cares.
Yeah, pretty much.
When was the last time you saw a rally on TV? When was the last time you saw a NAS truck?
Yeah, they don't even show that on TV anymore. Not that I've noticed. IndyCar still gets on TV, but, I watch it and that's about it.
And, like, F1, you have to, like, get up at the ass crack of dawn.
Yeah, if you want to watch it live. And, it's funny because the only thing really worth watching on TV live would be a sporting event, because otherwise you realize the absurdity of watching other people do something. I think when it's already over, you're not going to stay spoiler free, and if you have already had it spoiled, you're like, why am I watching people compete for something? It doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, but there was the good reviews for F1 back in the 80s with that one guy, Clive whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That we can't buy.
No,
because we've been trying to buy high quality. The 1983, 1984, 1987 he did the reviews of.
I believe so. Yeah, no, there's it's kind of funny. I say that about the absurdity of watching something that's already settled, but quite frankly, I could spend hours on YouTube watching races that happened 20 or 30 years ago, and I would be more happy to do that than to watch something that's on today.
I would watch, like, a modern F1 race. I'd have to be in the right location to do it. Like, I'd have to be in a bar with other people who gave a shit.
Yeah, that's part of it too. I mean, I think that speaks to what has happened to TV in general. Is that everything is such a niche that whatever shared experience you used to have of, oh yeah, I saw that too. I mean, it's gone because you're only watching what you feel like watching, and so is everyone else. And you start to realize the limitations of the appeal of the things you like, because you realize that everyone else watched the thing they liked, which was probably 25 different things if you asked 25 different people.
Well, on that note, we're hitting 30.
Yeah, that's probably a good place to call this. Let's call it a mini episode.
Yeah, it's half an episode. We wanted to get something on the site, so we talked a little bit about lemons, a little bit about real car racing, very little about slot car racing, but we did sneak it in there.
Yeah, we worked it in.
Right, so this is Brian, Mike, and Kevin signing off from the Super Secret BTE Mobile, coming from the Super Secret BTE wedding. I mean, not wedding. I mean, no, wedding. I mean, Kevin's wedding.
Definitely not that, whatever it was.
Right. Remember to like and subscribe, everybody who's made it this far.
Please
like us.
Yes, we're desperate for your attention.
All right. We will see you folks in 2 weeks.